So, Sue Bird right here was a basketball player. She is now in charge of Team USA basketball. It has been talked about today. And let's take a look. So, I got sent this post. Shout out again to Christian S. Again, also, I do want to give so much credit to all of the kind of aggregators for things, because I have a whole bunch of videos left to go out today. I got a Swoops video. I got a video talking about Diarca Hamby already recorded. As you'll be able to tell, I was wearing a hoodie and not just back from playing pickup. But yeah, so we've got to talk about this right here. But would Sue Bird have put Caitlyn Clark on the Olympic team on the Dan Patrick Show? So we are going to take a listen to this right now and see what she said. I would assume she's not gonna. I assume she's gonna say something like, "Who would you take off?" But I definitely would have considered it. I'm guessing that's what she'd say.
Sue Bird won 4 WNBA championships. She was an All-Star 13 times, one of the more decorated.
Okay, we're gonna 1.25. We're gonna 1.5 times speed, just because I don't have patience.
Basketball players in history, and also 5-time Olympic gold medalist. Just named USA Basketball Women's National Team Managing Director. That's a hell of a title there. Is that on your business card? And what exactly does that mean, Sue?
Need like a business index card at this point or whatever. Managing director. It's basically what Grant Hill did for the men's team. So like a GM, pick the coach, pick the players, and then win some gold medals.
I wonder who they're going to pick as the coach. Because obviously she's Yukon. Who's she going to pick for the players? Like, there is going to probably be some Yukon freaking bias here with Sue Bird. But of all the Yukon people, she's the least likely to have full-on Yukon derangement level bias. Like, there's definitely going to be some Yukon bias. But, like, I don't think it's going to be, like, derangement level from her.
How do you deal with players lobbying you now, or being your friend, or sending you gifts or cards or flowers?
If only I were that easy. No, I mean, obviously I've been in the women's game for so long. So of course I have friends and relationships, people I played with, against, are going to be in this pool. But that's just where my experience, my perspective, my understanding of what makes teams great and how to build that and how people have to complement each other. That's where that just comes into play. And that's what's going to be guiding me. It's not going to be flowers or gifts.
Would you put Caitlyn Clark on the Olympic team?
Right now?
No, no. This past Olympic.
I knew you were going to ask this question. Honestly, I have to just say that I respected the committee's job.
Then that's yes. That is, you know what? I respected the committee's job. That is the biggest cop-out, because even Sue Bird knows. Sue Bird knows that there were a lot of people picked on sentiment. Do you want to know why Sue Bird knows that and is answering this question? Because let's look back on the 2020 Women's Basketball Olympics. So, in the 2020 Women's Olympics, the best point guard was the best point guard on Team USA or for America was Chelsea Gray. At that stage, I'm guessing Skylar Diggins was second best, but if you're looking right here, what point guard did they bring? Well, Chelsea Gray. They brought Sue Bird. Who was the starting point guard? Sue Bird. Sue Bird started at the 1. Because it didn't matter. Was she better than Chelsea Gray? No. Just like in 2024, I'd say they felt bad that Chelsea Gray was by far the best point guard in the WNBA. And Chelsea Gray did not start because Sue Bird had to start based on sentiment. They brought Sylvia Fowles, who, again, one of the greatest of all time. They brought her based on sentiment. They brought, in 2021, maybe Tina Charles deserved to be there, but they brought Sentiment Basketball Club. The fact Ariel Atkins wasn't brought this time was crazy. I do think Ariel Atkins, just as a defender, was a much better pick than in bringing a Kelsey Plum, in my opinion, but obviously they wanted to bring Kelsey Plum just for fit. However, it's very, like, if you know anything about that team, they did not pick that team because that was the team that was going to win. They could have picked a team to win every single game by 40. And, like, there was only 2 players, DeWanna Bonner and Jonquel Jones, on the... So that Team USA had gone to camps. They'd gone to everything. They're now using the excuse that Caitlyn didn't make the team because she didn't go to the camps. That's the excuse they're making now, because everybody knows you can no longer make the excuse that she wasn't good enough, because that's what the excuse they were making at the time, even though Diana Taurasi was 42 years old. And there were players like Taurasi that were picked on sentiment, like Brittany Griner, who'd been injured quite a lot, and I understand maybe bringing her. But, yeah.
I understood what was at play. I understood the pros and the cons, I guess, if you want to lay it out that way. And I think at the end of the day, it's hard to criticize a gold medal. A lot of people see the final game against France. They see, only winning by a couple points, and they view that as some sort of like indicator. But
They were also down big against Germany early in the game. They were also down big against Belgium early in the game. Like, people don't remember that they were down big in these games until they brought the players that they had chucked on the end of the bench. Kalia Copper, who probably could have been a starter, but she had to sit on a bench for Jewel Lloyd. She had to sit on a bench for Diana Taurasi. So until they made that type of a change, everyone being like, oh, they saw the game against France. The problem is that the game against France was the first time that they had a really bad start and couldn't come back until the end. And they did just about, but like, they had bad starts against Belgium, they had bad starts against Germany. Obviously, they killed Nigeria. And then, was it Australia in the semis? Yeah, it was Australia in the semis where it was a massacre. But other than that, like, there were people on that Olympic team that just did not look like they belonged. Like, Chelsea Gray couldn't walk. Whatever about Chelsea Gray now being slow, she couldn't walk at the Olympics.
The reality is we've been having close games at the Olympics for years. I can attest to that. So that wasn't really that new. Winning a close game like that wasn't new. That didn't have anything to do with the roster.
Yeah, I think it was best for both, and I said that at the time. I thought she had played a lot of basketball. I think she was tired. She needed a break. I didn't think she earned it, and there were other players who probably were in front of her who didn't make it as well. I'm going to guess she'll probably be on the next Olympic team. Just guessing.
I mean, TBD.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing when it comes to making the Olympic team. You bring your best players. You don't need to pay your dues to make an Olympic team. Like, France did not say Victor Wembanyama needs to pay his dues, who's, by the way, younger than Caitlyn Clark by like 2 years. He's 2 years younger than Caitlyn Clark. They didn't say Victor Wembanyama needed to pay his dues because Mustafa Fall played on the bench in the last Olympics. Like, it's the only country in the world where they believe players have to pay their dues to play at the national level. Why? Because it seems to be a given that they're going to win. And they showed that tactic that we don't have to bring our best players because it's a given that we're going to win isn't going to work. And that happens with everybody. Because look, it's not going to happen that Caitlyn Clark is not one of the best guards in the WNBA. But let's just think of a crazy hypothetical that Caitlyn Clark, that Hannah Hidalgo turns out to be just this absolute demigod of a player and averages 40 and comes into the WNBA and averages 30. It's not going to happen. And then somebody overseas, not even Jesus, I'm not American, but and I don't know, just off the top, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, but like, what other guards? Tanaya Latson, if these players come in and suddenly they're averaging like 40, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But in a hypothetical situation, they should make the team over Caitlyn Clark because it's not about paying your dues. It's not about who missed out. You pick a team. You don't pick a team based on sentiment. You pick a team based on winning, and the Team USA didn't do that. And you can tell with Sue Bird's answer that she didn't want to throw them under the bus. She literally said, would you have brought Caitlyn Clark? She goes, I respect the decision. And you know why she can't really say anything? She can't say anything about preferential treatment from certain players, preferential treatment for Team USA because she was a benefit of that herself. And the only thing that I hope is that it changes. I really do hope that it changes, and I think it will. I have to say, I do think it will. And this is not, again, a knock on Sue Bird. But I genuinely do think that that she didn't want to, disrespect kind of what has happened in Team USA because she has been a benefit. I think she deserves to make all the teams other than that one. But to say that she hasn't seen there being a benefit for players in Yukon when Breanna Steward out of college made the Olympic team over MVP Candace Parker and Finals MVP Nneka Nwumeke, arguably the two of the best players in the world. They brought a college player who, Stewie was great. Stewie was great, but like, there is a Yukon bias, and now you've got Stewie back. Now you got Sue Bird in, and you would hope that there's no Yukon bias. Like, again, you're not going to not pick Caitlyn Clark, but are you going to ignore, let's just say in 4 years or in 3 years' time, like Kelsey Mitchell is going to be 32. And if Kelsey Mitchell's doing what she's doing now, are you going to be ignoring Kelsey Mitchell because, what's her name? Because AZ Fudd went to Yukon. Are you going to be potentially ignoring, obviously I don't think Arike has any interest, will you ignore, let's just say again, a hypothetical, that I'm trying to think what wings could be really good. Oh, Sonia Citron. Let's just say it turns out that Sonia Citron ends up being the best player in this draft over Paige Bueckers. Or let me say it is, Sonia Citron is a better plug and play player, as in she's a better defender, she's a better spot up shooter, and Paige Bueckers is playing the 2. Does she make it over Paige because Paige is a bigger name? Paige went to Yukon. It's like, I don't know. And like, I do trust Sue Bird to make the correct decisions, but I trust her if she was given her own opinion to make her own decisions. However, I don't know if Sue Bird is going to, because she's someone who benefited from the sentimental decisions of Team USA, whether she's going to continue to do something because she was the benefit of that in the past. But anyway, I'll see you guys.